Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite_UK. Subscribe to the channel for in-depth rugby analysis and engaging sports debates.
The situation surrounding Henry Pollock and Ben Young's comments ahead of the England vs South Africa match is not merely a sports story. Looking deeper, it reflects a fairly clear snapshot of modern rugby where professional skills, individual personality, social media, and crowd psychology intertwine, creating a picture that is both fascinating and controversial. First of all, it must be acknowledged that Henry Pollock is one of the standout young talents in English rugby. At just 21 years old, his rapid impact in major competitions, from international level to key matches, shows undeniable potential. His explosive performances have drawn attention, but at the same time have made him a focal point of scrutiny. In elite sport, especially in a physically confrontational environment like rugby, attention always comes with two sides, admiration and criticism. What makes Pollock a subject of debate is not only his technical ability, but also the way he expresses himself both on and off the field. His provocative celebrations, along with attention-grabbing social media activity, have generated mixed opinions. Some fans see it as confidence, personality, and fearlessness. Others view it as disrespect toward opponents and supporters.
In this context, Ben Young's comments carry a tone that is both humorous and somewhat psychological warfare in nature. When a seasoned former international player says he hopes Pollock will wind up the crowd with outstanding performances, it reflects a reality in elite sport. Sometimes provocation is not in words, but in performance itself. A player performing brilliantly, scoring points, and showing composure on the field can unintentionally or deliberately create psychological pressure on opponents and spectators. However, what is more notable is the reaction from South African veterans. One expressed concern that if Pollock performs too well, media and public opinion could explode in an uncontrollable way. Another took a more open stance, arguing that young players should be free to express themselves, as long as it stays within the rules and the spirit of the game. These two perspectives reflect a familiar tension in modern sport: control versus individual freedom. More broadly, Pollock's story is not just about an individual, but about a new generation of athletes. They are growing up in the social media era, where every action on the field can become a globally viral clip within minutes. This makes the line between personality and controversy extremely thin. A celebration that was once considered normal 20 years ago can now become a heated online debate.
On the other hand, fan reactions also need to be viewed with clarity. In sport, emotion is inevitable. Passion and even discomfort toward opponents is part of the experience. However, when emotions go too far, they can turn into personal attacks or unnecessary pressure on young athletes. This raises an important question: where is the line between supporting your team and attacking opposing players? From this story, a clear lesson can be drawn for professional athletes themselves: talent alone is not enough. In a highly competitive environment, how an athlete manages their personal image, controls behavior, and interacts with media is just as important as on-field performance. A player may be excellent in matches, but without balancing personality and respect, they can easily become the center of unnecessary controversy. For fans, the lesson lies in being mindful when processing information and emotions. Supporting a team or player is natural, but that support should not turn into personal attacks on opposing athletes. Sport, at its core, is a space for people to test their limits, not a battlefield for demeaning others outside the rules of competition.
For the broader ecosystem, including media, social platforms, and content creators, the responsibility lies in how the story is framed. A situation can be amplified into drama, or it can be analyzed as a lesson in sports psychology, behavioral culture, and the evolution of a new generation of athletes. The chosen perspective directly shapes public understanding. Another important aspect is the psychological side of big matches. As Pollock prepares to face South Africa, a team rich in tradition and strong identity, the pressure comes not only from technical demands but also mental factors. Statements, expectations, and media attention can become either motivation or burden. How a young player handles these elements can sometimes matter more than pure skill. To be fair, it cannot be denied that rugby, like many other sports, is changing. Entertainment value, individuality, and media presence are becoming increasingly important. Players like Pollock reflect this trend. They are not just athletes, but public figures. This requires adaptation from players, coaches, and fans alike.
From a personal perspective, the key lesson is balance. Balance between personality and discipline. between confidence and respect, between emotion and reason. In any field, not just sports, self-expression is necessary, but how it is expressed determines long-term value. Ultimately, this story reminds us that sport should retain its core: fair competition, respect for opponents, and inspiration for audiences. Controversies around individuals may come and go, but the true value of sport, when properly understood, endures far beyond temporary noise. Looking beyond a single match, what matters is not who wins up whom, but how each individual grows through those encounters. And that is what truly deserves reflection from fans, athletes, and the wider community alike.
Goodbye from Scrum Masters Elite_UK. See you again for Rugby Pollock and Young's analysis in the modern rugby world.